Hello, you're watching Vibrant Living, where we bring the medical experts into your living room to help unlock the secret to the fountain of youth, to help you feel better, look younger, and live a happier and more vibrant life. My guest today is Dr. David Sherberg from Bayway Dental in St. Petersburg, Florida, where he is using cutting-edge techniques and technology to replace missing teeth with dental implants. Dr. Sherberg, thanks for being here.
Great to be here, Colin.
So for people who aren't familiar with you or your practice, tell me about your practice and what are the services that you provide?
Well, Colin, I'm a general dentist, and that means I perform all manners of general dentistry, which is crowns, bridges, veneers, dentures, pretty much you name it. But a lot of dentists do that. And so I think that the thing that differentiates my practice the most is the fact that we look at a person and we look at their oral health, and we take the time to form a relationship and come up with a solution to fix kind of their entire problem. Mm-hmm. We're not just fixing a broken tooth here or a big old cavity here. You know, we're really in the business of increasing and making their oral health much better. Mm-hmm. And I can't honestly say that every dentist does that. Mm-hmm. To do that, we have to form a relationship with them. We have to get to know them. Mm-hmm. We're a slower paced practice. You spend a lot of time getting to know me and my staff. And we come up with a plan, come up with a solution, mm-hmm. honestly, that fits them and that they can go through with and finally get to this just storm cloud of discomfort and pathology and disease that's been hanging over their heads, sometimes for years, without really ever addressing it because they don't know how or they don't know where to begin and they don't have an advocate.
What do you mean by an advocate?
Well, Colin, most of my patients are older. They're retirees, and St. Pete is a retirement community, okay? So I'm not seeing many 20-year-olds with perfect dentition. I'm seeing people that have kind of let their oral health fall by the wayside a little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. So as time goes on, things break and things hurt a little bit more, and they see so many doctors at this point in their life, and they're just, you know, going from doctor's office to doctor's office to doctor's office, and they don't know who's who, okay? So the idea of going to another dentist or another doctor and trying to address all this that's going on is really, really daunting. So by being an advocate, we slow the process down, we get to know them, and we say, we're going to come up with a solution, and we'll figure out what works best for you, mm-hmm. and then we're going to execute it, and we're going to be as comfortable and as slow and as methodical as you need us to be.
There's a lot of trust involved when you're working on someone's teeth.
Oh my God, yes, absolutely. Colin, it's a very private place, the mouth. I mean, think about it. I mean, what we have to do is downright scary for some people.
Sure.
You have to develop that trust. And if you don't, people won't see you. Most of America, I think the statistic is over 50%, don't have a person they call their dentist.
Is that right?
Yeah, and you can kind of understand it. If it ain't broke or it don't hurt, don't fix it, you know? But pretty soon, it's broken and it hurts. And then you got to find somebody to turn to. Get turned off by one or two doctor's offices or dental offices that kind of shuffle you through. You don't even know if they know your name. Mm. And pretty soon, you're like, you know what? I guess this is my fate.
Yeah. Now, your office is interesting, and it's different from a lot of the other offices. I know, like you said, you do all of the dentistry A to Z.
Yeah.
But in your community in St. Pete, like you mentioned, you see some of the more difficult cases, people that have a lot of dental issues. Talk to me a little bit about that typical patient that comes in, and they sit with you. What are their concerns?
Well, I gotta say that, like I said, an older population, and as a result, with age comes more complex problems. I don't see little cavities here and there. I see people with a whole mouth of problems, and they think that it's gonna take 5 different types of dentists to solve it. Mm. And that's not always the case. In fact, that's not usually the case. In our office, we will sit down and we will basically come up with treatment options where most, if not all of it, is done in our office in an easy, concise, efficient manner.
Is that right? So you don't have to send people all over town to get something done here, something done here. They can all do it with you.
Yeah, there's a saying, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. There's a saying in dentistry, right? If you want to lose a patient or not get treatment done, refer them to another dentist. You know why? They don't go.
Is that right?
They don't want to go. It's the trust issue again, Colin.
Because they don't trust the dentist you send them to because they don't know them.
They don't know them. It's already a hassle. Colin, when you get older, all right, let's back up. When I'm 35 years old, okay? When I was 20, I was running 5Ks. I was trying to train for a marathon. Nothing hurt. I didn't think about anything. I'm 35. I got knee problems. I can't jog like I used to. I'm a dentist now. I got back problems, okay? I gotta see a physical trainer for that. By the time, every decade you get older, things get harder. You know, more medications you got to be on, diabetes, arthritis. Pretty soon, you're seeing doctor after doctor. You're on all these medications, and you're just like, I don't want to do this. And you put it off to the side. You don't get it done, and things they tend to get worse. So it's almost out of necessity that I've been forced to develop a practice that treats everything in-house so that we can get this done quickly and efficiently and as painlessly as possible.
I started young with bad teeth, and no matter how often I went, did everything I was told to do, nothing worked. It just seemed like I had one problem after the other. Then I got to a point where I didn't go. And unfortunately, they really got bad. When I went to get a part-time job, you know, they'd look at you. Appearances mean a lot when you apply for jobs. Never smiled. I always looked like I was frowning. Never had a picture taken. So when I saw Bayway's flyer, I came in, talked to them, found out what needed to be done, told them they can't do anything without sedation. Dorothy now laughs and smiles all the time. And it's not like I'm conceited, but I'm proud of my teeth. And they've done a great job. I love corn on the cob. Unfortunately, I couldn't eat it before I got my teeth fixed. Now, I go just like a little chipmunk. There isn't anything I can't eat. And we're planning on moving, but I plan on coming back for a visit and getting things done if I need it. Because I don't think there's another dentist in the world like this one here. At least as far as I'm concerned.
If you're just tuning in, I'm sitting here with Dr. David Sherberg from Bayway Dental, and we're talking about this little bit of real estate on our face that has such an impact on how we live our lives. Now, you're in a retirement community, and you're in St. Petersburg. Is there a lot of people in loose-fitting dentures or people who are headed in that direction?
Absolutely, Colin. That is something I would say that at least half my practice is dentures or missing teeth.
Okay.
And there are many ways to treat a missing tooth, and that's a new thing. Did you think about it? Our first president, George Washington. What's the famous one of the famous anecdotes about him?
He had wooden teeth or something like that?
Wooden dentures. They look like these. Look, this is what people wear now, okay? George Washington wore a wooden version of this. It was the same thing.
So this technology is hundreds of years old,
Colin, and we're still using it. And up to a few years ago, this was the main option I was providing, and I just felt like that wasn't good enough. I figured, you know, we put a man on the moon, and you can talk to your aunt in Australia on your cell phone and see a video of her, but we're using George Washington technology. Nothing against our founding fathers, but come on, we can do better than this. And we have, luckily, we have.
So I want to take a second and ask you to take us through the typical day of someone in a denture.
Okay.
How is that different than you and I?
All right, well, when somebody in a denture wakes up, they got to set their alarm about 10 minutes before their spouse.
Why is that?
Because their dentures are sitting in a glass in the water, and they don't want their spouse to see them without teeth. Okay, and so they've got to grab their denture, they've got to brush them off. apply a bunch of denture adhesive all over the top of it like peanut butter, put them in, and then go see what's for breakfast, okay? And here's what's for breakfast for a denture wearer. It's gonna be white. Scrambled eggs, rice, yogurt, oatmeal, macaroni. If you notice, you're looking down at your plate and you're seeing that the only thing you're eating is some shade of white, you're probably wearing a denture because that's all you can eat. These things don't chew, Colin. So they don't chew.
So the only thing they can eat with that is the soft foods, the easy things,
I don't even know if I'd call it. I'd call it getting by. I wouldn't call it eating. That's a real. I'd say that's probably the biggest problem with the denture wearer. You asked about our typical denture wearer, is that they're getting by. They don't know what options are out there. They're in an appliance. We call it an appliance in the business that just allows them to get by. And yeah, they're eating. But I wouldn't necessarily say they're enjoying it. I wouldn't say they're definitely not vibrant living, that's for sure.
And you're in St. Petersburg. This is an active retirement community.
Absolutely.
How are people retiring these days? It's not like the old days when they kind of just played golf once or twice and sat on the front porch and kind of just rested.
Now, I live in Tierra Verde, which is where a lot of retirees live. So I'm in the thick of it, okay? And I'll tell you, there's a new restaurant/bar that opened up right next door to me, and I take my family there. But on a Saturday night, you know who's there? It's the 55 and older crowd.
Is that right?
It is packed to the brim with a live band, drinks, food, all sorts of food, obviously, and it's the retirement community. They're out living, they're boating, they're jogging, they're walking, they're going downtown, they're hitting up the nightlife. They're living their lives like they wanted to when they retired.
How is someone in a loose-fitting denture like this, how is it stopping them from enjoying?
Well, they don't have teeth. They can't chew food. So instead of using teeth to chew food, they've got to use a fork and knife. Cut it all up into tiny little pieces. Hope nobody notices that they're out to dinner with, that they're not really chewing their food. They're kind of just, quickly eating it and swallowing it. Maybe getting a little bit of chewing function from these dentures, but for the most part, all the chewing happens with a fork and knife. And that's not what they worked their entire lives for. That's not why they retired to Florida and sunny Florida, to finally just, eat
baby food again.
Essentially baby food. You're absolutely right, Colin. Essentially baby food. And thank God for this treatment. Yeah. I mean, this is a new thing that has allowed us to abandon this George Washington technology. We don't need this anymore. Thank God.
So you're saying that you feel no one should be in a loose-fitting denture anymore?
I feel everyone should have the ability to chew food. I think that's fair. We were given teeth. I think that's fair.
So besides the aspect of being able to chew the food, how does that help them live a healthier life?
Well, you go to a doctor, like I said before, all they're eating is white. White foods. White foods aren't the healthiest foods. You need vegetables, you need fiber, you need protein, you need all those things, and all of those things aren't soft and mushy. They require teeth to chew with, okay? And it's funny. A number of my patients that are about to be in dentures, unfortunately there are a lot of them, or about to lose their teeth, they say, well, at least I'm going to lose weight. That's what they tell me. At least I'm going to lose weight. I'm not going to be able to chew.
Because they can't eat the foods.
Because they can't eat the food. But you know what happens? They gain weight.
How so?
Simple sugar, simple carbs, Colin. All of a sudden they're eating cakes and cookies, yogurt, oatmeal. They're eating the high caloric foods because they can't chew the healthy foods. Their blood pressure skyrockets. They develop diabetes. They gain weight. All of a sudden they're not moving around nearly as well as they used to. And believe it or not, this has a huge part, or a lot to do with it.
So eating, not being able to eat healthy, leads to nutritional problems. Besides just eating, what other factors do you see in patients that come to you in a loose denture like this, besides just not being able to eat what they want? Is there any emotional or psychological factors? I mean, you mentioned when they go out to eat, not being able to eat what they want, but what else do you see?
Well, they're out trying to live their lives, and these are loose dentures. They're not fitting well. They constantly have to try to keep these dentures from moving around, or people knowing that they're using false teeth. They're not smiling the way that they typically do or used to. And as a result, by not smiling well, studies have shown that they've lacked confidence. They're just not, they don't feel as active, and they start to feel their age. They don't feel like they can do the activities that they probably could do had they the confidence to smile and know that their teeth are going to stay in place, to be honest with you.
What about the people in the community? Because again, an active community, people, thanks to the internet, are dating longer. And do you have patients who are looking to get back in the dating scene?
I told you about the nightlife, Colin.
Sure.
I mean, those people aren't there just to shoot the breeze, you know, to use one of their my elderly patients' terms, but they're there honestly to meet people, to socialize, to have to meet up and to date. They are, and it is not. At some point in a relationship, and they'll confide in me about this, they're going to have to let the person they're dating know that they don't have any teeth. Imagine that, Colin. You imagine dating someone and having to tell them, coming up with a plan in your mind to tell them how I take my teeth out. This is who I am.
Is this something that they really do think about, an actual worry that they have?
Well, yes, they're humans. I mean, they're human beings. We associate false teeth with getting older, and nobody wants to get older, and we can basically stop that. We can eliminate that complication in their life. Like I said, they've got the arthritis, they've got the high blood pressure, they've got the million doctors they've got to see. Let's at least give them the ability to chew again and smile and not have to talk to somebody about how they are using false teeth and they keep their teeth in a jar at night. I mean, like, give them the ability to chew. This isn't chewing. It's not chewing.
Tell us about this patient and what was his concerns and what did you do?
Well, this is Doug, and Doug's, he was on the dentist treadmill, okay, the hamster wheel, if you want to call it. He was seeing a lot of dentists that weren't addressing his entire mouth, okay? He was seeing dentists that if something broke, they fixed it. If there was a hole, they filled it. Meanwhile, overall, his smile was deteriorating. His ability to chew was deteriorating. He had some lingering pain that was getting worse and worse. And finally, it got to the point, and as it often does, where he said, enough is enough. I don't like my smile. I'm in pain, and nobody's really taken the time to sit down and try to figure out a plan to help me, to address all this. And that's what we did. That's what we do, Alan. So
now, looking at him, this before smile, he seems like he's already kind of a happy guy.
He is a happy guy. You know, God bless him. His smile and the cavities that they had didn't deter him from smiling. But that being said, look at the difference. I mean, when we gave him his implant prosthesis, his implant hybrid denture, he's beaming. I mean, it was life-changing for him. He felt like his smile reflected who he was.
And he came in, got the implant, secured on those dentures, and 24 hours later, he's back out eating the things he wants.
He's back, he's chewing. You know, his wife came in, and honestly, he was already happy. I think she was happier than he was about it.
Is that right?
Yeah, she got the man she married back.
Very good. Now, I want to go over this part right here. This is a very intense case here, and it looks a lot like what you were talking before, the chronic dental patient who just kind of fixing as he goes. Tell me about this one.
Yeah, this is an interesting one because when he came in, he just wanted to address one of his front teeth, really one of the only front teeth that hadn't been addressed already. He had those crowns done over the course of decades. One was done in the 70s, one was done in the 90s. They're all mismatching, and nobody really took the time to address everything, to say, you know, we've got to stop the problem. We've got to fix it, or else you're going to be in complete dentures, and you're not going to be able to chew. And is that where you want to be? So
he was heading towards getting all of his teeth ripped out.
But he wasn't going to tell us that. When he came in, he just wanted to address some staining on that one front tooth that doesn't have a dental crown on it. And he's a nice guy, and I noticed that when he was smiling, he smiled in such a way to hide the left side of his face. And people do this, Colin. It's really interesting. When you are not confident in your smile, you will subconsciously change the way you do it. And he was smiling to hide the gap right there. And when I talked to him about it, he wasn't even aware of it. When I talked to him about it, he said, I guess you're right. I guess you're right. And I was like, you know, we can fix that, and we can fix all of this. Would you like to learn more? He's like, yeah. Nobody's ever even told me that.
No one had told him that this was even possible.
Shuffle them in and shuffle them out. That's how, unfortunately, a lot of dental offices work. They're not in it to fix a smile or eliminate disease. They're in it to put a Band-Aid on it and move on. And that's okay for some people or sometimes, but not for everybody and not all the time.
So he was fed up. He sat down, he came to you. Tell us about what you did here.
Dental implants, we did some crowns, and it's a smile transformation. You know what's interesting is that the effect it has on their smile is immediate. The minute we fixed his smile, that day, that lip lifted up.
Is that right?
Immediately, he saw himself in the mirror, and you literally saw the lip lift up, Colin. Can you believe that?
So he could finally smile and be who he's always wanted to be.
He's who he is. I mean, that's not how he smiled. That isn't the person that he was. He was hiding it, and now he doesn't have to hide anymore.
Amazing, amazing. And just cosmetically, this is amazing.
Yeah.
He looks 10 years younger, even from this cropped-in photo.
It's just he was ecstatic.
Amazing. If implants are such a great option for people who are in a loose denture or they're missing just one tooth or a couple teeth, why aren't they coming in? What are their biggest concerns that they share with you about getting an implant?
Well, there's different categories of patients. And the first one are the people that have just been in dentures for a long, long time. They're not seeing a dentist regularly, and they're not aware of this newer technology. So they just don't know this option is available. They're getting by.
They're out of the system.
They're out of the system. This is my fate. This is who I am. I don't see the dentist unless this tooth falls off or I need a reline of this denture. And I'm just going to get by. This is who I am. This is my life. And inevitably, when they know about what's available to them and how easy it is, they will go through a treatment and just have a life-changing experience. I'm not gonna downgrade it. It is a life-changing experience.
What about the people who are sitting at home and they're in pain, they want to change their smile, they want to be able to eat again, but they are just afraid? What options do you have for that person?
Well, first and foremost, the way we practice and the fact that we treat them not as a mouth but as a human being, that'll get rid of a lot of their anxiety. Not all of it, but you'd be surprised how just that first visit will allow them to just calm down. However, you do run into the occasional patient where they've had some traumatic dental experiences in the past and they're gonna need a little bit more help. And we have what's called sedation options. We have nitrous oxide, we have oral sedation. That's probably the most appropriate one for implants.
So I can come in, and if I need a lot of this work done, typically how many appointments would it take if I didn't have the sedation option?
Oh, I mean, it could take, let me put it to you this way. We'll fit 3 or 4 appointments into a single appointment.
Is that right?
Yeah, and I'll do all forms of dentistry during that same appointment. That's one of my favorite ways of performing dentistry. I'll do an implant, I'll do a crown, we'll clean your teeth, we'll do some perio work, we'll do all these different forms of dentistry so that you don't have to keep coming back. It's a simple, efficient, concise way of getting the treatment done.
And all while someone could be pretty much sleeping through the whole thing.
For the most part. I mean, some people do fall asleep, but if they're not asleep, they're really calm, and there's this little side effect to these pills. It's an amnesia effect.
For those of you just joining us here on Vibrant Living, I'm here with Dr. David Sherberg from Bayway Dental in St. Petersburg, Florida. We've been talking about replacing missing teeth with dental implants, and specifically for those who are in a denture or headed towards that direction. They don't have a lot of options when it comes to eating food, is that right?
No, they really don't, Colin.
So let's start with this guy. What do we have here?
You're looking at your standard George Washington era denture that most people are wearing. And as you can see, it's a plastic plate and it just kind of loosely fits over your gums. So there's nothing to anchor it in.
What about the goop they put on, the adhesive, does that help?
That's pretty much all that's gonna help, and you just smear it on like peanut butter and cross your fingers and kind of pray.
So if I'm in a loose-fitting denture like this, and these are the options on the table, what am I grabbing? What can I eat?
Well, all this is kind of out there, Colin. You basically have got something liquid or something soft. So you're looking at soup, or I mean, I'm gonna be honest, baby food.
Baby food. So loose-fitting denture, soups, baby food, something that's very, very
oatmeal,
liquid.
yogurt, just something soft that you can kind of, they call it gumming. That's what our patients say, we gum it.
We gum the food to death. Yeah. I've heard that, yeah. So for people who are ready to get rid of that and they're sick and tired of eating this, what kind of options do we have?
Well, I mean, we've got basically an implant-born denture, which now it's anchored in. It's not coming out.
Let me see this.
There you go. But do you notice something different here, Colin? You see that?
The plastic's gone.
The plastic is gone. You have taste buds on the roof of your mouth. Did you know that? So now you're tasting your food better and you're going to be able to chew better because it's anchored in.
So this can be anchored in. The plastic's gone. I can taste the food I'm eating now.
Yeah.
But can I eat this stuff? So if I'm in one of these fixed dentures with the implants, nuts, healthy food like corn, broccoli, apples.
Bite into an apple. Bite into the corn on the cob. You can bite into all of it just like you could with your natural teeth.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Now, the coup de grace, of course, the creme de la creme, the top of the line that everyone wants to eat that we discussed, of course.
A nice juicy steak.
What about something like this? Now, if I'm in a loose denture,
you need a food processor up here in order to eat this steak if you're eating this. If you're using one of these dentures.
Blend it into a mush and
blend it into a mush and maybe add it to the soup. I guess that's what my patients tell me. But when you have an implant born denture like this, it's staying in place, and you're going to be able to bite into a nice juicy steak, feel the juices running across your tongue, chew and just swallow. And you know what? You're enjoying the food. You're not thinking about how you're going to eat. You're just eating, and that's really what it's all about.
If you're just joining us, we're talking to Dr. David Sherberg from Bayway Dental. We are actually out of time. I feel like we could keep talking about this forever and ever, but
hey,
this has
I'll stick around.
This has been great information. Now, last question is for the person who's sitting at home. They're in pain. They hate their smile. They feel the hopelessness that we've talked about, but now they see some hope. What do they do if they want to talk to you to hear about these options?
Well, you know, I was thinking about it, Colin, and I just took a half hour to talk about what we do and what our philosophy is and what the options are. And if somebody sat at home and listened to me ramble, honestly, on this television show, then they won't need to listen to me ramble in the office about it. And as a result, they'll be ready to hear about their options. I won't have to explain nearly as much, and that's worth something. That's worth rewarding. So anybody who mentions that they've watched this program is going to receive a free exam and 3D image to find out, yeah, it's about a $500 value, to find out what their options are, what their individual options are to fix their smile.
So if you're sitting at home and you want to know at least your options, they can sit down with you at no cost, no obligation to see if they're a good candidate.
Absolutely.
For an implant.
We'll walk through your mouth. We'll take a journey through your mouth, and we'll find the option that's right for you.
Amazing. If you're in the St. Petersburg area or surrounding areas and something that we've talked about has struck a chord, you're ready to get your smile back or maybe fix one tooth or get a whole brand new set of fixed teeth.
Whatever's right for them, Colin.
Exactly. If you're ready to hear your options, I want to personally invite you to reach out to Dr. David Sherberg and his team at Bayway Dental. The website is baywaydental.com. The contact information is on the screen. I want to thank you so much for coming out today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.